Fiona. La stessa non Fiona, torniamo lo dire, ma mi si deve molto io massa mi sa.
Ale sa wasi si ngat. Walo ko kilo kai. Ale ngale lo wale winga ke ma si mai. Ta ki ko ko le cha. Ola vai. Afo Olae kafale ya le ava sawa yukalva. Ala ki wala woso yungora. Al melam kwa ko wal vai la. Le avo wanga al pizza o tomata. Wanga muswa umar me. E fa felanga muswa le ngala muswa o le woni morsa. Waka api ma va ia fo ingira mei o kula fare ko na fia umaya le sio manga fa inga le au coral reef fa inga ia marine life singo ka umor sami mai ka ke va ia ku ai me ku bu fa me ku bu fa fo kwa pe umai ka pe ia singo ka meia kuso le pa pensingi mo swa ia masha causa uma e o soile fa que ele va Florida ia ma Jamaica ele penyo da triangle o ingala e o so ia le fa ma o ko iva ma sa no el pensingi kape ale o pule va pe e nga o mai ka mai mea e liki mai ai le o spiel mai e le pasai mai pe pasai pe kuru mai le o fer bere o le aru sa o le makwa vai o fa po sa o le aru sa ma pe ai o le ko mai ni a mai kwa I le market o nga ko I maka ka ko Nga la fai o mu fa. O te pe o moi o mang. Ya, quiero ai. Ya si mang. El me ka o fai ka o mai ni ka ka fa ko. Agora mai misila. Mai si para porta. O mai ko so ele la fai nei ma le ma. O me mo mai ai kupe ka mafa mo leva ngol ka ko ai me se ka ora ngala ngai umo mai ai ma mai il market we lopo ko sama ka ko kilo le ia la fa ka market o so ngai le fieta ya o so ai ma le fa ke ke o ngana ko mo misi o fa il me fa pe me va pe ma kwa fai ngai ka ko la fo o kilo mai la langi il mene ku I Samoa fa se kai ai le mensta musila lo ma fa mal pui il fa venga saure la ko fa si silama ma fo ngai lo ka ko wa fe mai le mamao fa ko fa sa lo bulbul ka ko ale o ka ko mo voi lo ile fa sa lo mo so mai musila Mana como que ia mo ka ko fa sky le officio leo ma l'officio o lo de fumo a me se for ko que lo mai ka ko fai va precis o mai a fo ma la ko va fa o la se fele ia la ko sai mo la di sai la pe fi sumba lima la ko le ka kia e pe ia container ki kele lungo le e ko ka vai po a menga ko mo containers ale vo ia te le suau'u le afe o pe afe e tane le te le suau'u le singi le ko suau'u le ko mo fa pe fe a vez kala mai I kua ma fai ngai ka posisio ma he afe tane o le pensingi le kongo le va ai le va e la mi e la sinna le ki la fe tane a le a mai e pe e ka ura ki ma mai le mele e su parti kama makala ia lo fiso ma va ve o mai a mai mi scapar ni si mai fafo fala tonga vave kele na ama o mai kanga ni langa ya afia e ka po ka o ko sisio ma o le tani ngai o le fafika o yo sisio ma o le mana le piko sili o ma wa le no va sisio ma o le fai unga le la bo tata ale kuranga ele konga mamai ele parmia meso ia le sa o kuua ia ele kofima e vai al sistema ia le o kofia ave sul parmia e fa pico al sistema e kaulanga kuia luma e ka mo me so sami e fa ko me fa me makala le officio vai fa ma l'ufficio ma fa fo il mon da faccio song ya le fa la buttonga le fa va mallo il metto sisio ma le qua spread kai mi ngai ka fa ngal ko ma
Ri tu e fenga caro fiuma le Rai si da fia ele makuiao o le lamati o si o manga I le bele I le vaale ia le pe le tau ngā hu le whaamtalanga e le maro o le me mako I ngā me o le lamaki le soifu o tangata
al kurang fa portik la sio kurang fa portik me il est bien portik tau fia I fatica o se vai mal soifu o tangata Nanga toma open up no mai kuma tangkar mai le mera sai ma pe fo yo no kupu no pe ili fa pe o ngana ni be na ma kupu ole a fo yo ole belle ole a fa no solo mo ma con il lungo la morchele ma feo ai mo kiria uma me mo kua vai la ngana me kas le foi le tsunami e fai e kupu tsunami ka le fiku ka al fuka ko mo so mi la sa o il fongo le balo fakas ahora ku ele me ama pues por vaso foco sa o su al vale le fa ko mai mo dunga vale le o como mai game ma ka lo ma ko usa o fia de ma sui palmia ma ka lo ka mi uma il fondo mo fa con mai me fa ma se le longo le fa mo la fa malo ka mi na pa le fa yo ai le ha uma wa ya au ko lo yo ka lo mo ko yo lo ko ku ngai ka ka lo ya pris mai ya ia le po au ka I ko au le mas furula ko I mo es furula fa ya lo ole au media ya mai mala ko ka ya ma ko mu fo lo fa ka mai ka o lo ko ya mo la o mala o wa fa ka lo ma I lo la ya ko I me ko pusa mo para umat ulang ale ya alo ya merfasa longa la fia nga komiti o fia mai fa na fa ko se ka lo ma ko I lo ma fa le frel malo no ma ko si alo wa I msini kia wa ya mal fo male fa ko mo fo le por fa male ka le o fo tria me ya lo cual ma ko se singa o queria la wala ma por kala o ata mai lo ai na fa ka ma le me ko fai mo le so ya le ka ma fa ma vai la au me se so Almo declaration for le ola for le boya ni Samoa le kula makula fa na le pupa se e alu le fa sa lo mo fa ka piese mo lo kula fa le ale me ko fa il malo mo fa sa no ka fa lo le me a ko fa sa no ska ka o so ne se sigma Sapo kuma ele o kola whakanga ko kia suma ko ngoro whakanga a resa e kai mira e langa yo olo kai mio wharawila e kupa fo seki whanga whasar laurol me whasar laurol le kurang whafo sei whanga lo le kula fongo lo sawira lo whalai e le ai se si koe wharawila e ngā yoi ngā malo e a fia ma le Red Cross koe whainga reo mo wha mo le lawe i ngoro.
Kala whaksiri mo mole roa whionga. Nā sato langa o Yesu sina le lakapi Samoa le mori anga o mori e nei. Stasu pa ia o mani.
States, depending on who you ask, New Zealand or Samoa, you'll get two very different accounts on the risks posed by the sunken Navy ship, the Manawanui. Samoa says 200,000 litres of diesel has leaked from the wreck, which is resting off its coast. But Defence Minister Judith Collins told Q&A over the weekend that can't be right.
Don't see that can be if that's the little trickle that we're seeing there. I mean, any oil coming out is obviously disturbing for people, but we do know that it has not gone to the beaches.
Victoria University Samoan International Relations expert Nanai Dr Iati says the only way to appease the situation is with an international inquiry. He joins us now. Morena, thank you for being with us this morning. Why do you think an international inquiry should be done?
Yeah, Morena and Talofa. Well, this is an international incident. This took place within Samoa's territorial sea. It's within their territory. If it was played out any other way and New Zealand was the victim here, then New Zealand would obviously want an independent inquiry. To put things in perspective, Samoans claim there's around 220 tons that's already leaked. The Rena disaster we had here in New Zealand was about 350 tons, and that was 12 nautical miles from shore. This is 1 nautical mile from shore. So if they're correct, this is a huge international incident and has huge implications for Samoa.
As you would have heard in the introduction, Minister Collins has said can't be right that there's such a big leak that has occurred. Samoa saying the opposite, that has happened. How would you describe the relationship between New Zealand and Samoa at the moment?
Well, it depends who you talk to. I would say it should be pretty rocky at this time. Given the litany of wrongs that New Zealand has done in Samoa. I think the last one was 2019 with the measles outbreak. And then in the first and early interviews with Minister Collins, there seemed to be a kind of a dismissive attitude towards what the Samoans were experiencing. So I wouldn't say they're on good terms at the moment.
Can we go back to that international inquiry that you're calling for? What specifically would it look at? Because we know that there's an inquiry going on here, looking into what actually happened with the ship. But in terms of this international inquiry, what would you expect to be looked at?
Well, I think the Samoan people deserve to know what the Manawanui was actually doing in Samoa's territory, what kind of work they were carrying out. Then you have the environmental implications as well as the economic costs. And obviously, as you mentioned at the start of your program, there's all these different stories coming out. You couldn't get a greater disparity of versions than what Minister Collins is saying and what the Samoan authorities are saying. So the Samoan people need to get a fair hearing on this. They need to get to know what the truth is. And for New Zealand, it needs to preserve its credibility as an honest broker in the region. So for a whole host of reasons, you need an international independent inquiry. What
are the environmental impacts here? And the impacts not only on the environment, but how that actually impacts the economy in Samoa?
Well, people have to remember that subsistence fishing is one of the largest activities that Samoan people have. Most people, I think about 40% of the households in Samoa have at least one fisherman, so their livelihoods will be significantly impacted by this. But beyond that, the Pacific Islands Forum and other Pacific Island countries have obviously made human security, which includes economic, environmental security as their priority. So this really kind of is a big issue, not only for Samoa, but for the Pacific.
We had the Prime Minister on earlier today, and Daniel asked him specifically about an apology to Samoa. He said he's spoken to government officials and that he has apologised profusely. Is that enough, do you think?
Well, apologies don't actually mean much on the ground. I mean, for the average Samoan who's living particularly out in the regions that are affected, that apology is great as a first step. But, you know, some kind of economic remuneration for those people is really the next step that should be looked at. And how that's determined, I don't think it should be New Zealand that should determine that. It should be some international independent inquiry that should have a look at what the costs have been for the country.
In terms of the investigation that you'd like to see, the international investigation, how soon should that begin and why?
Well, as soon as possible, obviously. New Zealand is already in there, and I think they have every right to conduct their own investigation. But as I said, for their credibility as an honest broker, you need an international team in there straight away. There are a number of regional organizations that Samoa could turn to, and then beyond that, obviously, you have the United Nations. They should get in there straight away to find out what the facts are, especially in relation to some of the earlier questions I mentioned. What exactly was the Manawanui doing? What work was it carrying out, and for what purpose?
So this international investigation would have to be called by Samoa, right?
It should be called by Samoa, but then again, like I said, for New Zealand's credibility, it'd be in New Zealand's interest to also support that kind of call, just to make sure that within the Pacific, it maintains that honest broker reputation that it's worked so hard to build.
Nanai Iati joining us this morning. I really appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nanai Iati clearly not mincing his words there.
No. And, you know, again, getting an honest assessment from, you know, for the country in terms of what this actually means for Samoa, this incident. Like, you know, it's happened there and we're kind of waiting to see what happens, hoping they'll be able to get all of that, the diesel, oil, etc., off that ship, which is only 30 metres deep.
And from what we're hearing,
giving a perspective on what's happening over there.
Yeah, that's it.
And
the implications that are going to be happening because of it. And loved how he compared it with Rena in terms of where that was. Really gave you a different perspective to what we're hearing.
I think it's really important as well is that, like you were saying, New Zealand's reputation is at stake here, that it's seen to be leading and being proactive in this, not reactive at all. That if it wants to be the leader of the Pacific, as it often is, it needs to show that as well.
Yeah, and asking New Zealand government to actually call for that international inquiry, even though under normal circumstances it would be for Samoa to do. But again, going back to the credibility, etc., then New Zealand should be calling for it.